I just got done watching Darkest Hour. Not The Darkest Hour, just Darkest Hour, which is kind of, yeah, kind of okay. That's I get it. It's a reference to a speech that Winston Churchill made. Okay. Um, I wonder if The Darkest Hour was actually a movie. Probably is. Anyway, so it's about Winston Churchill, and beginning of the movie just basically shows, it kind of introduces him as a character. He's kind of funny, but he's a bit of an arsehole, kind of. But yeah, it's like he's human, but he's very clever, which you'll see throughout the movie. So the movie just kind of starts off with him being elected as prime minister, but his own party doesn't really support him. They're still kind of loyal to the old prime minister, and the last prime minister was kind of voted out because the opposition party, I guess it was Labour, I can't remember, says that, like, he wasn't very good prime minister in peace, and he isn't very good prime minister in times of war, and so they wanted a new prime minister, and of course it didn't go to the people to vote. It went to, like, a dark, dingy, smoke-filled room full of aristocrats and, like, people who are top of the power, like food chain, really. They got to decide who was going to be the next prime minister. But yeah, so then he did become prime minister, and he met the king, and they had a kind of awkward first meeting. But so the movie's kind of all about his first month in power, which is May of can't remember the year. It was 1940. Should have wrote that down. But yeah, so it's all about the retreat of the British Army and their allies, and really the French army as well, trying to because the Germans are invading France and invading Belgium and Denmark and bloody everywhere, and they're taking over everything, and so Winston Churchill's at a kind of a crossroads. Does he negotiate peace, or does he go to war with the Nazis and Adolf Hitler? So that's what kind of the movie's all about. There's great side characters. I can't remember his name from Game of Thrones, but there's a big character in Game of Thrones who's in this movie. A great actor, so he is. I kind of don't want to say actors' names because I kind of want it to be a surprise, but yeah, he's really good on it, and he's kind of Stannis, I think was his name in Game of Thrones, and he's kind of like, he wants to negotiate peace with Hitler, and the Italian says, we'll help you negotiate peace. Of course, the Italians are allied with the Nazis, so it doesn't really make any sense. But so yeah, so the whole movie comes to a head at Dunkirk, because there's where they're all retreating from, all of the allies, and really the navy, nobody will let any ships go to Dunkirk. So I think it was Winston Churchill that gets the idea to send to order all civilian vessels to go to Dunkirk and pick them all up. If you want to see what happens with that, watch Dunkirk. I might do. I probably will do a movie review of that movie, but basically that's kind of part two of this. It really ties into it actually, um, which was good. Which is good. I didn't particularly need to tie into it, but it did. Um, so that was really good. Just reading my notes here. Uh, so so yeah, I'll leave it there because I don't want to ruin the whole movie. But basically, yeah, the all of the acting's brilliant. Um, the guy who played Churchill just got a global. Oh, what do you call it? Anyway, he got an award for best actor, and he well deserves it because an hour into the movie, I didn't really like. I thought I was watching Winston Churchill. That's how really strong a performance he was given. And I know a lot of critics was saying that because you can't, like, I'm on the internet nearly the whole time, and any critics will say that he's brilliant in the role and he should get an Oscar for it, and he probably should. But I would like to see the other nominees first before, if I was judging it, I'd like to see the other nominees. But yeah, he if he won an Oscar for that, he well deserves it because he was really good in it. And the makeup was really good. I was trying to see if I could see any lines or anything like that. You couldn't. Um, it was blending in very well, and that's as I say, like an hour into it, you really do believe you're watching. Well, I did. I really believed I was watching Churchill, and I was watching his cabinet, and I was watching, history unfold, as it were. And yeah, there's a great bit where he goes to the underground. He's never been to the underground before, and he meets the British people, and he gets their opinion on everything that's going on, and it's just such a good movie. It really is, and it really speaks to the kind of, the power at the time didn't really know. They thought what the British people wanted. And a lot of Churchill's party thought, oh, they'll want peace, they'll want a peace negotiation. They didn't, like, anybody, if you know history, that's ridiculous, coming from years and years of empire, the British ruling the world, ruling the seas, it kind of made little sense. Like, of all the countries, there loads of countries still part of their empire, and they want to, like, try and negotiate a peace treaty now. Like, I don't know, but but the guy Stannis from Game of Thrones, who wanted the peace treaty, he didn't want to be prime minister. Like, but then he thought he could use Churchill as a puppet. I don't like. It's just. But see, that's the way power goes sometimes, and that's the way things do go sometimes. I mean, look at George W. Bush and his vice president Dick Cheney. Like, Dick Cheney was the president for the first 6 years, and then but that's a different story. But yeah, I do recommend the movie. There's a little bit of violence in it. There's a little bit of gore in it, but it's only for like a minute. The whole story is about really Winston Churchill and his first month in power, and I keep saying that, but like that's what it is, and it's really interesting and it's really good. And I'm coming up in 10 minutes now, so I'll finish up. Yeah, if you like war movies, I don't really recommend. It's not an action movie. It's not a war movie. It's just kind of a lot of talking, but it's really, really good acting. If you like Game of Thrones, you'll like this movie. Because it's Game of Thrones isn't all war. It's a lot of talking, a lot of negotiation, a lot of thinking of what we're going to do next. Maybe I'll review that the next season, the last season. So whenever that's next year, 2019. But yeah, there's the yeah, all the actors really stand out. It really is a testament to how good they can actually make movies when they really put their mind to it. And the lighting, I'll talk a bit about the lighting. They use a lot of natural lighting. Like one of the first shots is natural lighting coming in through the windows into Parliament, and it really puts a spotlight on the opposition, kind of given out to what became the former Prime Minister and the opposition party, and it was really good. And there's a lot of mood lighting, and there's a scene where Winston Churchill is addressing the nation on the radio, and it's just red. Excuse me, and just the room is just red, and it's just like it just shows the seriousness of the situation, and really well done. It just goes to show, you can really set the mood with just lighting. And I don't remember much music being played during that scene. I think there was, but the music score was good. It was really nice. It was well used, but I don't really remember much music. I don't think to use much music in this movie, to be honest, which is a good thing, because it doesn't need to be used when there's talking going on. You don't really hear music in the background the whole time. It's just it can be distracting and unnecessary, and yeah, I think they made the right decision there. Well, obviously, if they started winning a load of awards for it, yeah. But yeah, that's just a note I would make for the movie. It's very dramatic, and it's funny too, though. It is funny. There are funny bits in it, and that's good, because from what I know, from what I remember about history class, Winston Churchill did have a sense of humour, so it makes sense. But yeah, he nailed the performance. He really did, and yeah, I wonder if they'd make another one. Yeah, kind of like how Winston Churchill got the Americans involved and all that. Yeah, I'd like to see that. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I recommend the movie. Have I said that? And yeah, it's worth it. But just be prepared to sit down for 2 hours just watching people talking. Yeah, basically. But yeah. Okay, that's it.